Okay, and welcome to episode 5 of Judging with the Judge. Now, today's is going to be about a classic British programme. If you saw it, you'd remember it, and I believe it was only aired once on TV. Now, for this programme, I'm literally taking myself back to 1992, Halloween night. It was a couple of weeks after I had seen my first confirmed paranormal encounter, which was the Shadow Man. For further details, read the Shadow Boxing article I put on the ESN website. And I'd just been to a party, we'd been to firework, joint firework and Halloween party at a friend's house, and I got home and there was a programme on BBC One. So this is back in 1992. So I was 18, and the programme that come on was Ghostwatch. Now, I've mentioned that name now, and that's probably sent shivers down a few people's spines, because it's one of those programmes, if you watch it, you would have remembered it. There's no way you're going to forget about Ghostwatch. I certainly didn't. Still sticks to me to this day. And as I said, possibly one of the most scary programmes ever aired on TV. The way they done it was brilliant, which I will go into. Now, we're talking about BBC here. We're not talking about Sky Channel. Obviously, we're around, this is BBC. So, they aired this programme called Ghostwatch, and the only clue at the start, really, was the fact it had a Screen 1 logo come up. So, most people watching it wouldn't have any idea about what they was about to go, or what was going on, or what it was literally. So it started off with Michael Parkinson. Obviously, I'm remembering from memory. I said this has never been shown on BBC again. It's been released on DVD and video, and there's clips available on YouTube, but not the full show. So it was an hour and a half long. So it's going from memory. Started off in the studio. We've got like the title of the show, Ghostwatch, and it was Michael Parkinson sat down at a chair. So it's on Michael Parkinson. Let's remember, this is Michael Parkinson. At the time, he was one of the most serious interviewers on BBC. So it's after with Michael Parkinson on the chair, and there was a parapsychologist sat there and a couple of other people talking about this house, which was in Norfolk. Well, literally, it was probably less than 6 miles, if that, from where I was watching the TV show. And it was going out live, this programme. So, he's talking about this house in Norfolk. It's got poltergeist activity. Now, as I go along, if you're into the paranormal, you're going to start to notice a few similarities with what I'm talking about and another famous case. It's pretty clear later on what I'm going on about, what it's going to be. So, they had an outside broadcast, a studio broadcast, Michael Parkinson was talking, and it went to an outside broadcast team, which featured Sarah Green, Mike Smith. Sarah Green at the time was doing, I believe, Going Live, which was a kids' TV show on Saturday morning. Mike Smith was a Radio 1 DJ and also he's a husband in real life. I believe he's dead now, I'm not too sure. But he was a Radio 1 DJ and a TV presenter. And of all people, Craig Childs, now named Coronation Street and I'm a Celebrity and things like that. At the time, he was probably most well known for being a poet and Red Dwarf. So we're talking about a comedy star here. That was the outside broadcast team, and they went into this house in Norfolk. It was a family with teenage children and 2 parents, and it was a poltergeist case with teenage girls. Already sounding similar to another well-known case. So they went into the house. Craig Charles was doing as usual, hiding in cupboards, making noises, banging on stuff, you know, mucking around. So nothing too serious quite yet. And then about 6 minutes in, interviewing the family, behind them, either you thought you were seeing things or you didn't, there was a figure behind the family, like, very Hannibal Lecter-like. And then it was gone. Now, I interviewed the family, said Sarah Groom's quite a serious interview, so is Michael Parkinson. It was all very serious. at this point again, and that explained the story that their house was haunted by a poltergeist who was known as Pipes. There you go, Pipes, that's the censorship of something it was fine as well, if they remember the programme. Now, Pipes was called because of the noises made at night. They had told the kids when they were little it was the pipes making noises. This is why it was called Pipes. So he said not much was happening. It was just going back to the studio, talking to Michael Parks and the parapsychologist. And then things started happening. Things in the house, like Sarah Green went back into the kitchen and stuff had moved around and cupboards were open. Now, this was going out live. I say live, but it was revealed at the end what really was going on. It was going out live. So, yeah, you're getting freaked. Stuff was moving. Again, this figure appeared in the background. Quite a scary looking guy with his... he had blood in his face and an eye missing. So he disappeared. Now, they went through and they brought in a medium. And the medium picks up on this guy called Pipes. And I can't remember for the life of me what his real name was, what this guy's name was. But he was a psychologically disturbed male who had lived in the house and had been terrorised by the spirit of a baby farmer turned murderer called Mrs. Seddons, I believe. And he had took his life, his own life, in one of the bedrooms, and it was full of his cats at the time. And that was why his face looked like it had been eaten, because obviously the cats had eaten the body. So he wasn't a happy spirit and he was disturbing it. He was making lots of noises. At one point in the programme, the girl spoke like him, or his voice come out. And it's all very, very creepy stuff. And I'm guessing what this was based on yet, or what it was very similar to. It should be very shortly. And there's obviously the TV crew were in there. And at this point, Craig Charles stopped mucking around and got very serious. And everyone that knew Craig Charles at the time was like, oh, it's Lister from Red Dwarf, you know, he's an absolute legend. He was serious, so yeah, it was quite frightening stuff at the time. And then more things were happening, you were getting more and more sightings of Pipes, people would get becoming possessed. And this is about an hour in, and I mean, it had been done brilliantly, actually brilliant programme. About an hour and 10 minutes in, I believe, the paranormal expert, as we know there's no such thing as a paranormal expert, or professional paranormal person, was in the studio, and he said, something's wrong here. This is actually quite apt for today's day and age, and certain things, with cursed objects and that the spirit was using the power of the TV and the live broadcast to make itself more powerful. Now, at this point, people in the house were getting attacked. They had stuff thrown at them. They said it'd been all subtle to start with. Pipes was appearing again. He had been terrorised by his Mrs. Seddons, who was a baby farmer. Now, baby farmers are people that kept babies for people and looked after them if they couldn't afford them. But most of the time, they ended up killing the kids. So, obviously, this guy, Pipes, had escaped from Seddons. You never ever saw Seddons' spirit. Legend has it that there was a manifestation of Seddons at the end near the programme. But so what happened then was he went back to the studio and this guy explained that he was using the power of the telly and the live broadcast to gain more power and break through to the real world. And at the time during the show, because it was allegedly going out live, they were getting calls in from viewers because the line come up to call this number. To get calls from viewers saying that they had experienced Pipes and things were happening in their houses. They were watching the show and stuff was being thrown onto TV and that. Now, and then again, people were panicking and freaking out. Didn't like it, was scary at the time. And then it got to the point where there was a flash frame of Pipes in the studio. And then it's got, hang on, the ghost got to this TV studio. And then there was a load of noise in the house, loads of doors banging, and Sarah Green was dragged into a cupboard under the stairs. That was the last you saw of her, and the broadcast went off. And then it cut back to the studio. Again, you saw Pipes up on the like the gantry at the top, and stuff was being thrown, and the studio started shaking. And then Michael Parkinson screamed, his face started to change, he started to speak like Pipes, and the programme went off air. Just a black screen with a beeping noise. Now, of course, it wasn't live, it was all pre-recorded. If you rung the number at the bottom, it told you this is not a live show. They decided to put the Screen One thing at the front to let people know, and the writer's name come up in the credits at the start as well, briefly, so they were covered if people were affected by the programme. Now, a lot of people were. It freaked a lot of people out. A lot of people thought it was real. It never was. It was a pre-recorded, done very, very cleverly. I would probably say that a lot of paranormal shows since, such as Most Haunted and that, probably based themselves on this format. Especially their live shows. They had the base camp in the studio and people out on location live. Now, again, this was well ahead of its time. So it never been shown again on TV. There are clips on YouTube. Look it up. And there's other things to do with it on YouTube. Look up online, called Ghostwatch. But yeah, brilliant show. There's a lot of controversy over it. A lot of people rang up and complained because they thought that the TV presenters have been hurt or whatever. Very similar to when Paul Daniels done the Drop the Spikes in one of his Halloween shows as well. So, look, very well done. They had to go on TV the next day to apologise and prove that Michael Parkinson and that were alive, and it had all been a what we now call mockumentary or docudrama. So they weren't around at the time like this. A lot of the methods they used were real methods, like the communication stuff and all that. They said I think there were 6 or 7 sightings of pipes during the show. There was lots of poltergeist activity shown, all done with special effects, obviously. And if you haven't already guessed, it was very heavily based on the Enfield poltergeist case. So that's what the basis of it was. Written by a really good screenwriter. I said, no, I don't know what effect they have nowadays on TV, because we've had too many shows on which are very similar, but at the time nothing had been done like it ever, and it was groundbreaking. And the fact that they've never repeated it on TV, and it only had limited run on video, VHS and DVD, and I think it's been shown in other countries, but I'm not sure. But as I say, Ghostwatch, what an absolute blast. I said, if you see it, you'll definitely remember it. If you didn't, then look up anything on YouTube, just bits of it, and you won't experience the full Ghostwatch experience, but you'll experience some of it. This is going to get a 5 noose rating from me, because, as I said, nothing's matched it since for what it was. Absolute great programme. So highly recommend you look at the YouTube stuff on it, or read up on it. And who knows, one day perhaps BBC will show it again, or do something similar. But at the time, I was 18, a lot of young kids watched it, and it probably would have terrified people at the time. Because Pipes wasn't the nicest looking spirit. He said he'd been eaten by his cats. And the subject matter was very dark. We were dealing with baby farming and babies being murdered and things. So, absolutely brilliant. One-off show by the BBC. See, that's one you don't mind paying your TV licence for, eh? Alright, so I'll leave it at that. 5 nooses from the judge for Ghostwatch. See what you can on YouTube, and I will see you all again on my next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.